Okay, we're going to start with the bench press today. So who needs to do the bench press? Pretty much every athlete out there. Any recreational lifter wanting to gain some hypertrophy, upper body strength, etc. The only exception may be like baseball pitchers, a lot of athletes who have overhead movements excessively. Instead of using like a barbell bench, you'd put them with dumbbells on a flat or incline bench and use a neutral grip to take that extra pressure off their shoulder joint. Okay, so setting up on the bench press. Going to be flat on the bar. You want a slight arch in your low back. You're going to keep those shoulders back and retracted throughout the lift. You want to keep those traps and rhomboids pinched together as if you had a pencil or something in between there. Your head's going to be neutral. Also through the lift, you want to keep your eyes up. You don't want your head to follow the bar down and tucking that chin down. Your foot position, feet are going to be a little bit behind the knees. Basically, as long as your feet aren't out there relaxed, it's going to be fine. Heels are going to be off the ground usually. That's going to be so you can use that leg drive throughout the lift. Hand position of the bar. You want your grip to be at the width, so at the bottom of the lift your forearms are perpendicular to the ground. This could be a little wider for some, but usually it's going to be just a little wider than shoulder width. Okay, so through the movement at the beginning of the lift, you're going to take that deep breath in. Bar is going to remain directly over your chest. You're going to lower the bar just to the bottom of your sternum, below your chest level. You want to make sure you're not bouncing that bar off your chest. You're going to push the bar directly back up over chest level. When you take that deep breath in before the lift, you want it to be a huge belly breath. You want that stomach to be all the way out extended to keep your body tight throughout the lift. Also want to make sure the bar's not bouncing off the chest. You're going to keep those feet pushed into the floor. You're going to feel like you're driving those heels to the ground. Use the leg drive. Also making sure that you keep your butt on the bench throughout the lift. If somebody has a problem, their butt's rising off the bench, you want to have them move their feet back even further. Okay, then move up. You want to make sure your elbows aren't flying out. You want to feel as if you're pushing yourself away from the bar. Some other coaching techniques throughout the lift. You want to tell the athlete to imagine that they're spreading the bar apart. So they're pulling the bar apart with their hands. It's going to stretch it out, activating the lats, which is going to give you a stronger lift. A good bench press involves a very, very strong back from the athlete. You also want to tell them to have a tight grip and maintain that tight grip throughout the lift. You also want to tell them to drive their legs. Feel like they're driving those heels through the ground. Okay, so now teaching the box squat. Right here, we're going to start with a setup. First of all, who needs the squat? Again, just about every athlete's going to need a box squat. Using the box squat rather than the free squat, just going to have the athlete have an easier position to get back to that 45-degree angle. A lot of athletes have some tight hips, and instead of letting those knees travel over the front and not being able to get maximum strength in that lower body, using a box squat can do this. Okay, so first for the setup, your hand position on the bar. Your hands are going to be even, a little wider than shoulder width. You want to pinch those shoulder blades together before putting that bar on the back, so you're not resting at the bottom of the spine there. It's just going to be in the rear deltoids, just in that upper back. Your chin is going to stay parallel to the floor. After you get that bar position, you want to keep those elbows tucked straight down perpendicular to the floor. That first move, after you unrack the weight, you're going to take one step back with each foot. Again, as you take the bar off the rack, you always want to lift that bar up as if you're having maximal lows on the bar. Even if it's just warm-up practice, when you're only using the bar with no weight, you want to practice that perfect setup each and every time. So for that first move, after you walk back, one step with each foot, you're going to see here I take that one step back. Good par position on the back. You're going to maintain that tight back throughout the lift. Elbows down. You want to push out on your feet. That foot position is going to be wider than shoulder width. Your feet are going to be at about a 45-degree angle, so you can get those hips pushed all the way back. So as I start this lift, I want to make sure I'm pushing out of my feet and pushing out of my knees. You know the foot position's right when those knees are able to travel directly over the ankle throughout this lift. You're going to let your upper body lean forward just slightly, keeping that back arched and that belly pushed out. You want to keep the back tight throughout the lift. Your position on the box, Before the lift started, you should make sure that box height is at the position for the athlete just prior to posterior tilt begins, just to prevent any problems with the load on the spine. So as I begin my lift down here, you're going to keep those feet pressed out onto the floor. You're going to see I'm going to lower myself on the box without rocking excessively. You also want to make sure that you don't completely relax your body on the box. Keeping your abs tight, you want to push them out throughout the lift. That concentric move back up, you want to make sure you push your head and traps into the bar. Flex your hips and glutes, and you want to push your knees out to go up. This is going to create a lot of power coming up from that bottom position. Also want to make sure you're not pushing forward with those knees. Once again, keep them out the entire time. You want to finish the lift before racking out, so get those hips all the way through. You don't want to make sure you don't get on your toes. You're going to rack the weight back on. Okay, so teaching the conventional deadlift. Once again, recreational lifters and athletes are going to use this lift. Going to create some hip strength, hip power, some low body power. Okay, first of all, the setup. You're going to have your feet hip width apart. You're going to grip that bar directly outside of your legs with an alternating over and under grip. You're going to make sure that low back has a slight arch, and you're going to keep those shoulders retracted the entire time. You want to also make sure you're looking straight ahead or a little bit up throughout the lift. So after you get that grip outside of the legs, over under grip, your feet hip width apart, pointing forward. You're going to take that deep breath in. You're going to get a big air in your belly, squeezing your shoulder blades together. You want to maintain that stiffness throughout the entire lift. So as you begin, you want to keep that chest up. You want to push through those heels. Your body position should be behind the bar, with your legs just about 90 degrees towards the floor. The bar position's also directly against your shins. You want to keep that as close to your body as possible throughout the lift. Your arms are going to keep straight throughout the lift. So once the bar position comes right above my knees here, you're going to see I'm going to be explosive through my hips. You want to do that every time through the lift. Your finished position, your hips are going to be through, legs are going to be straight. You're going to squeeze those glutes to finish the hips at the top of the lift. Some cues are going to be to tell the athletes to keep that weight back on their heels the entire time as if they're falling back. That's going to load the bar properly and allow them to perform the lift properly. You want to also make sure that their hips aren't moving up before their knees, so everything is a simultaneous movement while your shoulders are staying retracted. Alright, now we're going to teach the Sumo Deadlift here. The differences here, your feet are going to be about double shoulder width. You're going to have your toes pointing out at about a 45-degree angle. It'll be different for every individual, just as long as you can keep those knees pushed over your ankles throughout the lift. The wider your foot position at the bottom, the more stable you're going to be at the ground, the more unstable you're going to be at the top of the lift. Another difference of the Sumo Deadlift between the conventional deadlift is, for the conventional deadlift, the hardest point to overcome is that point lifting the bar directly off the ground, whereas in the Sumo Deadlift, the hardest point is going to be when that bar comes right over the knees, when you have to let those hips extend through. So for your setup for the Sumo Deadlift, you're going to see an easy way to coach is to have the athlete just squat directly down, so they're keeping those legs 90 degrees, hips back, shoulders retracted, and you keep that head up. The back can stay slightly flat, but you do want a small arch in the back. You want to grip that bar directly under your shoulders so those arms are perpendicular to the floor. You're going to push your hips back. You want to have that weight shifted all the way to the back of your heels so your entire body is behind the bar. Once again, like the conventional deadlift, you can see the bar position is going to be just against my shins. You want to keep that as close to the body throughout the lift as possible. So beginning to bring the bar up, you want to keep that chest up. You want to ease into the lift. You do not want to jerk the bar off the ground. Once again, the easiest part is me lifting that bar directly off the ground. The hardest is going to be getting those hips through the lift at the top. So once that bar is up just past my knees, I want to let my hips explode through the lift. Let them fully extend at the top. You should be straight up at the top, eyes looking forward, maintaining that tight upper back with the shoulders retracted. To finish the lift, the legs straight once again, and you're going to bring the bar back down and repeat. One more thing to say about the deadlifts. If you're having your athletes squat a lot, getting a lot of hip work going in, you're going to tend to want to have them do the conventional deadlift opposed to the sumo. The sumo is going to use a lot more hip action. You don't want to overuse those hips and cause any injuries. Okay, so teaching the hang clean. Who needs to perform the hang clean? Once again, a ton of athletes can perform the hang clean or certain progressions of it if necessary, if they can't learn the final move of the hang clean. It's going to be used for explosive hip extension and triple extension. So pretty much any athlete needing a lot of hip power can use this. We're going to start with some progressions to learning the hang clean. First, you're going to see the RDL, pretty simple. Set up, you're going to have your feet hip width apart. You're going to grip the bar directly outside of your legs with a regular grip here. You're going to stand straight up with the bar, keeping those shoulders retracted and chest up the entire time. Slight bend in your knees, but not a lot, and you don't want them fully locked out. You're going to start pushing your hips back with a small arch in your low back, keeping your shoulders directly over your toes. You want to maintain that low back arch, and you're going to slowly let the bar slide down your legs. You're going to stop just above your knee position. Okay, next we're going to see the power shrug, the second progression of teaching the hang clean. The setup is going to be the same as the RDL, shoulders retracted, chest big, looking forward. You're going to grip that bar directly outside of your legs, standing up with the bar. Once again, you're going to have that slight bend in your knees. Start by pushing your hips back and keeping your shoulders over your toes. You want to maintain that low back arch, and you're going to slowly let the bar slide down the legs. As you bring the bar back up, you're going to start the explosive movements. So you're going to do the RDL. You're going to go down, and you're going to explosively fire those hips while you simultaneously shrugging the shoulders up. Your arms are going to stay straight. The momentum is going to be absorbed by coming up on the toes. The next progression for the power shrug is going to be the high pull. So you're going to basically put all these moves together. That RDL, which is going to activate the stretch reflex to get those hip extensors more powerful throughout the lift. So with the high pull, same setup, feet hip width, grip the bar directly outside of the legs. You're going to stand up with the bar. With that slight bend in the knees, you're going to push your hips back, keeping your shoulders over your toes once again. With that low back arch being maintained throughout the lift, you're going to slowly let the bar slide down the legs just above the knee position. You're going to, as you explosively fire those hips through, while simultaneously shrugging the shoulders and reaching triple extension, you're going to allow the arms to bend up, keeping the elbows out and over the hands. This is going to give you the high pull. You want the bar to get as high as possible so you can move into the next move for the hang clean. So moving into the final hang clean, you're going to use that RDL, power shrug, and that high pull all together. Same setup. You're going to see that slight bend in your knees. You're going to slowly move the bar down over to just above knee position, and all at the same time. It's going to be one complete movement. You're going to explosively fire those hips through. You're going to shrug the shoulders. You're going to reach triple extension. That's going to use the momentum of the bar to reach a higher position. The second that bar is up, after you complete the high pull, you jerk your arms back underneath the bar to perform the catch. You want the bar to be just on the anterior part of the deltoids. Some problems some athletes will have is they don't have the flexibility in their wrist to perform that catch. So just for time management, you might just want to teach the power shrug or the high pull for the athlete. You're still going to get a lot of hip power from that. So to finish the hang clean, you're going to perform that catch, and it's going to be a squat. So you want to keep your hips pushed back at all times. Sometimes you'll reach 90 degrees, other times just the catch and the power shrug is a little more important than the actual squat at the end of the movement.